carry over, which, being realistic about how much of that you'll get, I think as much as anything, just the focus and attention, where there's a recognition that, hey, this is what we want to do, and this is, but, as far as trying to find a few things that will help them tactically do some of the things we're asking them to do, as far as spacing and moving the ball, and continuing to try to work on those things. You can tell, even DJ missing a couple days, there's and he's in a good place, but you kind of have to be reminded again. And the same thing defensively. So you can't have contact on a day like that, particularly going into the schedule we've had, and then the schedule upcoming. So trying to get as much done as you can. Usually in some breakdown settings, some 5-on-5, 5-on-0, I should say.
Put him on the mic. Just in terms of Indiana and watching, their game last night against Boston, like what stood out to you? Because this is a really quick turnaround for them too, like 22 hours later for them to kind of turn it around and get things done.
They're a unique team and a tough team to prepare for because, it's more preparing for a style of play. I think I differentiate between their pace, which is fast, and also their thrust in the half court, where they continue to play throughout a possession. And they're pretty connected in doing that, and that requires a lot of people on the same page. I think those are the things that we know about that have been consistent for them. And then obviously, I think that said, our focus needs to continue to kind of be on the things that we can do. Transition defense certainly applies. That's something that we've continued to try to emphasize and even get greater commitment from. And a lot of it's mental. Sometimes guys are tired and they won't run back as hard, but a lot of times you lose that race, in the first 1-2 seconds of a possession, and then you're playing catch up, and particularly against teams that have shooting and spacing, it's really hard to catch up.
Hey Quinn, I was wondering, 2 weeks to go, do you sense a general excitement within the group about this home stretch and playoff possibilities?
Yeah, it kind of gets back to what I was saying before, Bob, and you've heard me say it a lot in the last few weeks, is that a day like yesterday when we're focused on how can we be better, coupled with games, and the enthusiasm that comes with the game, particularly late in the year, and what those things mean to beyond the next couple of weeks. So both of those are apparent, and hopefully we can kind of channel one and help us with the other.
Going back to transition defense, do you emphasize maybe passing up the initial first shot if it's not wide open to get a better shot to make sure you're not putting yourself in a bad position where transition hurts you?
I think the way that I would evaluate that, Ryan, some of it's personnel related. I've been very adamant that, whether it's Bogey or Dre, even Trey with some walk-up threes off the dribble, that, those are good shots. I think also part of the reasoning there too, you always want the rim. I love the rim, but we have a chance to rebound those shots in a transition situation. That said, I think the execution, like some of our, I guess backing up, the one thing you can't defend against is turnovers. So the execution, on one end, if you don't execute and you turn the ball over, that's, you're done. And then if you can play throughout the clock and the ball can, hit the paint, and you have a chance to break the defense down, usually you have pretty good floor balance if you've continued to space during the possession. That would be great, even better if you score. But somewhere in that middle ground, what we don't want is necessarily tough contested shots, and particularly twos, because I think those contested ones are even harder to rebound. And that's the real delineation for me. It's not necessarily, it's more the type of shot as far as, is it contested? Sometimes it's who's taking it, what kind of, what's the percentage of the shot? All those things come into play, but I think the quick turn mentally, if that's there, and we don't take, we take care of the ball, it gives us a fighting chance.